And I think we're live. I think we're live. Can you confirm that we're
What's up,
live, Hector?
everybody? I'll do that by talking,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
I've even got the link here set up. And people in the
Okay.
chat right now, they're watching us. They're going to tell us if we are
Are
live.
we live? Are we live? Let us know.
So
This
we're
is our
hoping
first time
for,
doing it without Adam,
but
so
we're
we're making sure that, that everything's
but we're
working
hoping
just
for.
fine. Uh
And it hasn't come up live for me yet.
No, I
It's
hasn't.
still a delay,
Yeah.
unless maybe I can get. Wait, hang on.
Oh, is it
Oh,
going?
okay. I'm getting an ad, so we might be live, but I'm seeing an
Okay.
ad on
Okay.
YouTube. But that's a good sign. But
Okay.
that's a
Yeah,
good
that's a
sign.
very good sign. I think I
Um,
got an ad too. Okay, good.
okay, here we
Oh,
go.
okay. We're just confirming.
We're
Anybody in
about
the chat
to.
can confirm we're going live. I see
We're
some rock and
about to
rolls
be
in the chat.
live.
Okay, I think we are. I think we're good.
Oh, awesome.
Are
Oh,
we gonna start
awesome.
every episode with the oh my god, 10 minutes of panicking?
Yes, that's the plan. Especially
Yeah, I
this
think we're good.
episode because
Yeah,
our
yeah.
homie Adam Lavick is on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
in the Arctic or something right now. I don't know exactly what he's
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
He's
definitely.
in some igloos or something. I
He's
don't know.
he's visiting the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Definitely going back home.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, for
He's
sure,
making that
for sure.
journey that Clark Kent made.
Yeah, definitely. The
Um,
pilgrimage to the motherland.
yeah, I just had two fat ads in front of now we're live.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't know
I
if
see
everybody
it.
else missed all that, but we're good. I don't know if we need to do another
I don't think we
introduction
need
for
to do
people,
another
but
intro. I don't think we need to do
okay.
another intro. But
All right.
welcome everybody. I think we are officially good to go now. I see everything's all green on
Good.
my side. Welcome, Hector. How you feeling today? How you feeling now that X-Men is over, dude? Have you had
Oh
time to
man.
think about it? Have you had time to rewatch the episode? Like, what
Yes.
are you feeling?
I have been sometimes we do this with the stuff that we watch, but like I was really fortunate enough for this particular project. My
Hmm.
girlfriend, she's a voice actor, Abby, was also in X-Men 97, small role as Spiral in the Motendo episode. So
Dang,
like
so cool.
she was already gonna watch the show, but
Hmm. Hmm.
to know that I'm watching it with you two guys first for the internet, and then the very next day, because we're staying up till midnight, so that's not ideal for a
No,
working
that's
woman
kind of
such as
tough.
her who
Yeah.
like has to get up in them. I mean, you got to get up too, Augustine. But
Yeah. Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
I was lucky that like the very next day, she'd be like, "Let's watch X-Men." So
Hmm. Hmm.
I would do it pretty close to, as opposed to like when we watched Fallout, for example.
Hmm.
I eventually watched Fallout with her, but maybe like a week or two later, like a little bit after, because we kind of powered through those episodes because they were all out at
Hmm.
once. So, there was some distance between the first time I saw it and then like rewatching it again. But
Hmm.
this was like immediate because the show
Yeah.
demands it, dude.
Yeah.
That
It
show.
absolutely does.
I wish you guys could have seen her react to
I
Wolverine getting the
know.
metal ripped out.
I kind
That
of
was
wish we had
like,
had Abby react with us, and then later reveal, hey, Abby is
yeah.
Spiral. So that would
Well,
be pretty
I
cool.
think the thing is like Abby's like a normal person, so she
Yeah.
watches these
Yeah.
these these types of shows normally, unlike
Hmm.
you, me, or
Hmm.
Adam, who
Yeah.
like we are like flipping out and we're talking to each other and we're like talking shit and we're doing it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
she watched the episode. It was episode 9. The
Hmm.
whole thing just kind of like this, like watching the show. And then when Magneto was like, "No more," and ripped
Uh
the
huh.
metal out,
Uh
she
huh.
literally turned to me and she was like, "What the fuck?" Like had such a reaction. And I was
Yep.
like, "Okay, damn."
That's the appropriate reaction. Of course, that's the
It
appropriate
is.
reaction. Okay,
So
question.
awesome.
How familiar is
Yeah.
she with X-Men, the storyline, like anything? Does she have a deep connect? Does she care about the X-Men at all? I mean,
No,
previously?
but I think it's not I feel like X-Men is similar to, I'll give you an example, Superman,
Mm,
in that
interesting.
there are people who only know Superman from movies. So
Mhm.
like I think a lot of people think Superman sucks. Like not that
Yeah,
interesting of a
yeah.
character,
Mhm,
right? And
mhm,
then there are people who read Superman comics or have read Superman comics their whole life or like have read enough that they know their Superman stuff,
mhm.
and they're almost like belligerent in their defense of Superman. You know what I mean? They're almost like
Like, he can
they're
do no
like
wrong.
they're like ready to fight, argue with people in a bar, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
"Well, have you
Mhm,
ever read the comic?" Like, and I think X-Men has the same passionate fans
mhm.
and the same people who just watch the movie, so they're like, X-Men's cool, like that kind of feeling, you know. So, and I
Mhm.
think Abby has like read some comic books and some Marvel and some DC, and
Mhm.
I'm not entirely sure, but she's not like a comic book reader. I think like the way that I am or you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Um, but I think even you and I aren't like regular. Like there are people that will read the new comic that comes out each month
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
their thing.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
reading comics like that. I
Yeah.
wait till the paperbacks and stuff. So like she had an understanding of the movie characters and relationships and everything.
Mhm.
And then you know, little things here and there, little video game things here and there, and of course, kind of knowing the cartoon show from the '90s. And
Mhm.
I don't really think she watched, for example, like X-Men Evolution or
Mhm. Mhm.
Wolverine and the X-Men or any of these other cartoons as we got older. You know, like I don't think a lot of people did.
Mhm.
Um, but rewatching the show with her as we started X-Men '97, we also started X-Men the original animated series. So she's
Right.
like getting a lot of the lore from that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, so but she had no idea about the Wolverine and the metal. And what's funny is
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
as soon as that moment happened, and I was like, yeah, when that happened in the comics, like people thought that his claws were taken from him,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
he
Yeah.
popped them and they were
Pop the bone
bone.
claws.
And it was a huge like
Yeah.
revelation. It was a
Uh-huh.
reveal. And she was like, "Oh, he has bone claws?" And then she
Mhm.
caught herself for a second. She goes, "Oh yeah, wait a minute. I knew that." Because
Mhm.
like the
Yeah.
movies have shown the bone claws.
I think
Either
it
his
was
first
wasn't it
movie
like a
in Days of Future Past.
yeah, it was Days of Future Past, but it
Yeah.
wasn't that a like a dream sequence, right?
No, man,
Yeah, it was.
because he had the bone claws in the shitty X-Men Origins Wolverine movie until they put the
Uh-huh.
metal on him.
Yeah.
But then when he mind time traveled back into the '70s and it was
Oh,
Hugh
yeah, yeah,
Jackman, he
yeah.
was ripped,
Mhm.
he
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
popped him and he was like, "Oh yeah, right." This like he hadn't had the procedure yet.
Mhm. Right, right.
So
I
he had
remember that
bone
now.
claws
Yeah.
that whole
Mhm. Mhm.
right, but again, you know, versus like I could be last time we went to Disneyland, I think we were
Mhm.
near Marvel campus or something, and I asked my girlfriend, I'm like, "What's Captain America's shield made out of?" And she was like, "Vibranium." Like she can
Mhm.
recall it because the MCU movies have been mostly good or great,
Mhm.
so she
Mhm.
remembers the details. We had to sit here and think about like, did they do bone claws in the movies?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the X-Men Fox movies are they didn't use those details in a
Yeah.
in an impactful way. Do you know what I mean? Does that make
I
sense?
wait, yeah, I'm yes, but I'm laughing only because
Yeah.
the idea that as you're going through Avengers campus at Disneyland, you're quizzing your
I'm a
girlfriend.
jerk. I know it's horrible. Terrible. Mhm.
That's the most Hector
I
thing
think
I've ever heard of.
I can't remember what it was, but I think we were standing in line and in
That's
California
so
Adventure,
funny.
standing in line for Soarin' Over the World and, like,
Uh-huh.
standing there, and then maybe there was a Captain America shield
Uh-huh.
backpack or something. It's just like when you're bored and you're standing in line, I was like,
Yeah.
I did. I was a pop quiz. What's it made of? She was like,
That's so
but
goddamn
I'm
funny.
just as a way to like, she knew that, and I
Keep it
knew
funny.
she
Just
knew
keep it
that
fun. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
because
Keep it topical.
everybody
Keep it
knows
moving.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. I get
I'm
it.
never gonna
And this is
ask
not
her.
it's not a bad thing. I just
No,
you
it's
Hector,
bad,
I love
but
all the
I
little quirks about you, and one of those things is just like, okay, that's what it is like living with Hector, and I
it is.
100% should have expected that.
Should have
Like,
expected.
that's
But I'm
yeah, I
never
should
gonna
have
ask
expected
her
that.
a question that I don't think she honestly like, I'm never trying to, like, stump her. That's not a
Right, right.
stumper.
It's never like
That's
a
what I'm
bad
saying.
faith kind of like question. It's just like testing your
Exactly.
knowledge today. Yep.
Jeez, I know.
Yeah.
I sound like I'm a gatekeeper, I'm sure, a boyfriend gatekeeper right now. I'm
No.
like, "No, no, no, I'm not. I
No, it's not one
promise."
of
She
those because
doesn't
look, you never
like
make
any of
bad
this
faith
stuff. It's okay.
arguments at all. And
Nope, nope, nope.
as long as I've
For
known you,
sure.
Hector, you've never been the type
Thank
of
you.
dude to like question somebody's fandom in something. If anything,
Right,
all of your
right.
conversations that I have heard with people are to strengthen. Like you figure out what somebody doesn't know, and then you talk to them about it. You don't question them about it. You talk to them
Mhm.
about it. You have conversations. You've gotten people to watch the entire MCU who have never seen the MCU before. Like to watch other stuff. Like you got me to watch the Fast and Furious franchise when I thought I hated it.
That's true. That's true.
So,
I do
you're a really
I
good
do
arguer.
Thank you, man. I do take that challenge when someone's like, I don't really like Star Trek. If I hear
Yeah.
that at a party, I'll be like, now I want to talk to you for the next 40 minutes. And
Yeah,
the
exactly.
challenge is going to be like, what's your thing? What can I recommend? How can I
hmm
pitch a thing to get you to be like, yeah, I guess that's cool. It's just not my
hmm
thing. Okay, great.
Yeah.
But whenever I hear people say like, I don't like DC, I like Marvel. I go, hang on a minute. That's not your fault, but hang on a minute.
Yeah,
Or
exactly,
the opposite.
exactly.
I don't like Marvel, I
Yeah.
like DC. I go, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Why? What's going on?
Right. I
All right.
ran into my
Let
first person who in real life, I've never met a person like this, but a person who said, "I've never seen Star Wars and I still have not seen Star Wars." And this person
Dude,
was
I love that.
a little bit older than me. And so I was just like,
Where was this at?
"What?"
Was this at a
No,
bar?
this was a friend of a friend. I've
Okay,
met
okay,
this
okay.
person casually before, but we
Mm.
never got into the movie conversation. And then she was like, "Yeah, I've just never seen a Star War." And I'm like, "Hold on, whoa, hold on." And
Uh,
obviously, I didn't judge
excuse me?
them for it. Yeah, excuse me, we need to talk. But the good thing is that she was open. She was open to watching it. She's just never had the
Okay, dude.
opportunity to go and like kind of watch it. So I guess
Here's
it's
the
kind of like
pitch.
me. I didn't watch it till I was in my 20s. So
Right.
that's a big
Here's the
deal.
pitch, right?
Yeah.
If you can be in the room and do it like a sort of movie viewing series where you're like, let's
Mhm,
watch
mhm,
all these as like a group or whatever. But if not, have her watch 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3,
mhm.
then have them at your place for the 3D Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of
Ooh, I
Skywalker.
still don't have
If
that in 3D. I'll have to borrow that from you.
if you will borrow it from me,
Yeah.
or if by then, if you get it or whatever, but like 2 of them I had to import from the UK, but
Mhm,
Force Awakens, there's like a special edition, but it's like a
mhm,
thick boy,
mhm.
so like whatever. Maybe
Yeah,
even
yeah,
importing that one from the UK would be
yeah.
better, but that would be a good like, okay,
I think
here's
so.
all
Here's
of
the
it.
thing. I'm
Yeah.
still not that close to this person to invite them over for a movie night either. So I'm just
I see, I
if
see,
I
I see, I
run into
see.
them again, I'm going to have
Oh, okay.
to kind of put it in their brain like this is the sequence you have to kind of watch this in.
You're smart. I'll meet
Yeah.
a stranger off the street. I'll go talk
I
to
know.
some guy
Yeah. You'll invite
walking
them over to
around.
your
I'll be like,
house
"Hey,
that night.
you wanna come in? You wanna come in right now? Let's go.
Yep.
I'm about to watch, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes in 3D.
Yeah,
Come on
you
in."
ready? You good? You
Some
good?
guy's
You
like,
got off the street?
I like movies. Get in here, guy. You're my new best friend. What's your name? Okay,
I
come on
haven't
in."
eaten in 3 days. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
I got you, I got you.
Don't worry, we got snacks. Anyways, to go back to X-Men, here's one thing I wanted to ask, and I don't know if the end of the episode was a good way to kind of talk about it. Since we're having a wider conversation, um,
Mhm,
here's my personal take, and I want to know how you feel on
mhm,
it. I think
mhm.
this show made the original Fox movies look so bad. And not
Oh,
to
for
knock the
sure.
actors, not to knock
Oh,
like the
for
production
sure.
people or maybe the production
For
people because they
sure.
were in charge of making the decisions, but like the Fox live action franchise at this point looks bad, bad, bad. And
Yeah,
I already didn't like
yeah,
those movies to begin with. Like when I
yeah.
first saw Wolverine, I was like, I'm fine. I think the first movie that won me over, the first movie that I was gonna give the last chance to was Days of Future Past. And I
Oh,
remember
yeah,
I
that's a good
walked into
one.
Days of Future Past and I was like,
It's
oh,
fun.
okay, I guess we're gonna do this again. And I was totally, totally surprised. I really, really enjoyed that
Mhm,
movie. But the
mhm.
movies before that, man, they were rough. They were really, really rough. It took
It
me a long time to be convinced that Hugh Jackman was a good Wolverine too. He didn't convince me until Logan.
Yeah,
Like I didn't really think he
yeah,
was a great Wolverine. But
yeah.
what do you think? And what do people in the chat think? Like, is that a
I
bad
That's a
take or
great
is that
question.
like I don't
No,
know?
dude, I think that's a correct take because I
hmm
think that the the movies I can forgive them for are like the first 3 movies, right? X-Men, X2, X-Men United, X-Men: The Last Stand. Those went from the year
hmm
2000 to 2006. The next movie was, I wanna say 2009 with X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now by that
hmm
point, the MCU started, which is crazy
Yeah.
to think
Yeah.
about like,
hmm
oh, they only had 3 movies out. Because when people go, "But the X-Men movie started 20 years ago." I'm like, "The
hmm
MCU is basically 15 years ago." Like, it's not that
yeah. Yeah.
far behind. And so X-Men Origins Wolverine, I think, was the first, like, because the first 3 movies, again, I'm forgiving because it's like, look, dude, they're coming off of the Joel Schumacher Batman movies. and they haven't seen people and producers and directors come in. Kevin Feige was a young dude as an
Mhm.
assistant producer, right? He
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
learning the ropes. They haven't seen producers come in that really grew up on comics and were like going to be protective of that. They didn't
Mhm.
see directors. The director who came in to bring the thing closer to what we know today was not Bryan Singer, and not
Right.
just boo Bryan Singer because of who he is as a person, but even as a director. It was Sam Raimi with Spider-Man, but he was only coming in with, I love the comics, the 60s
Mhm.
comics,
Mhm.
and he loved Richard Donner's Superman film. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
his North Star, not Spider-Man comics of, 40 years.
Modern
He
day,
was
not
looking at,
even the animated
right.
series, like nothing.
He was looking at Superman the movies like, I'm going to do my version of that, and he did. And
Mhm.
those three were great. And even those movies had compromises where like the movie people were like, well, we want to make a very expensive looking suit.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
comic book people would have been, well, the Green Goblin suit looks dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened when they brought in a Spider-Man comic writer to punch up some of the jokes and some of the Spider-Manisms.
Mhm.
Brian Michael Bendis made Peter Parker make a joke about Goblin's suit. And the producers were like, can he not do that? Because it's a very expensive suit. And it's like,
Yeah.
then you're like not being protective of what the thing is.
Yeah.
If your
Yeah.
brain is only, we got to make a movie brain, not how can we bring to life what worked in these stories and, why
Mhm.
people love them. But even with those compromises, you look back at those Spider-Man movies, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, Willem
Mhm.
Dafoe was brilliantly cast. Like
Yeah.
the suits looked amazing. The special effects looked amazing. It had the romance at its core. So most those movies mostly work. The X-Men movies are like barely comic booky. They're more sci-fi,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You're
But
right. You're right.
I can be forgiving with shit like, what did you prefer? Yellow spandex? Ah ha 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 ha. Okay, it's the year 2000. They didn't know how to do this and
Mhm.
be sincere, but be
Yeah.
very comic booky.
Mhm.
And but then once you get to the X-Men Origins Wolverine and beyond, like the Wolverine when he was in Japan, I thought it was mostly good. I thought it was a pretty cool movie.
It was okay.
I haven't
It's okay.
yeah, it was okay. I haven't rewatched it in a while, but like
No.
I feel like even in that movie, like they took the Silver Samurai character, which was a really cool character in the comic books,
Mhm.
and they're like, let's give him a big mech suit for the third act. And you're like, this is
Yeah.
movie bullshit,
Yeah.
right?
The mech
So
suits were
each
a
one of
cop
those,
out. Yeah.
and Days of Future Past, I think, is a great movie because by then they had figured out of all of the stuff we set up, and with our two different franchises, the old X-Men movies and then this new one with like First Class, can we do something that's pretty simple and streamlined and Hugh Jackman's going to be the lead and tell that story? And they did a good job.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
but even when you rewatch that movie, like I mean, this is kind of a diss on them too. Like the fact that that's maybe the peak of the Fox X-Men movies, and to me Days of Future Past is like it's like not even in the top 10, not even in maybe the top 15 of like an
Yeah.
MCU
No,
list.
no,
Is that
nowhere
messed up?
near. No, it's
I
not. I don't
prefer
think it's
the
messed up. I think it's real good to be honest because I feel like this animated series has elevated the bar. It hasn't set the bar, it has elevated the bar
true,
for comic
true,
book content because we
true.
we know for a fact that no matter how crazy and soap opera-y and out into the universe and space it goes, you can still tell a really, really good story with a lot of humanity, emotions, like everything that touches your soul being told by mutants, by somebody who we're being told is not good in this universe and somebody who is not like us, right? Because
Yeah,
they're having a totally different experience. So the fact that we can still feel all of those emotions from a very non-human way to go about it, I think is so it's such a testament to the whole crew that has been working on the show.
agreed,
Yeah,
agreed. And
it's
they
wild.
grew up not only with love of the comics, but like
Hmm.
the original animated show. And that's another reason what you said is true, that this new X-Men 97 makes the movies look bad because
Hmm.
all the people who worked on the movies, they also had access to that animated show. That they
Exactly.
didn't watch
Hmm.
that show and figure out how they did. And like we've been talking about this as we watched the original show from the
Hmm.
90s. Every time something came up that we're like, "Oh, the movies kind of stole this, but they didn't quite do it right."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was clear, like, we're watching the first episode, and instead of Jubilee, it's Rogue. It's like the
Yeah.
young
Right.
girl who's on the run. Like, we could see the Matrix code of the original live action movie producers seeing the animated show and going, yeah, we got it. And it's like, nah,
Mhm.
dude, you have to dig into that. And I think they
Yeah.
took some stuff, but I don't think that they learned the sort of lessons in like storytelling and
Yeah, I
X-Men
think you're
specific
right.
stuff
Yeah.
that they, for example, if they started the movie series with Rogue being just her absorbing powers as opposed to being
Mhm.
like super strength and flight, that's
Mhm.
fine. It was the year 2000. But by
Yeah.
the time you get to X-Men 3, time you get to if you're going to do an X-Men 4, 5, whatever, like
Mhm.
could you try to find a way to give that Anna Paquin Rogue character to bring her to that comic book iteration where she's the more bombastic, southern, in your face, because the whole that character was very meek and very quiet
Mhm.
and it's
That's
like
not
that
Rogue.
they didn't
Yeah.
right, that they didn't try to like eventually get to that. It's the same with people criticized Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the
Mhm.
MCU. Oh, this isn't as, as dramatic or as dark or mature, or he's not learning any lessons. It's too light, it's too this, it's too that. They skipped over Uncle Ben's murder and the origin, and
Mhm.
that's important to Spider-Man. And I feel
Yeah.
like Marvel Studios heard that. So then by the time you get to the third one, he loses Aunt May in front of us. He learns the lesson: with great power, there must also come great responsibility. It hits so
Mhm.
hard, and I feel
Yeah.
like it was an earned thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it in comparison, it felt like the Fox X-Men movies like were so they would make one, and it felt like they never had a plan for anything after that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They just do
exactly.
one movie and like,
Exactly.
okay, we get to do part two. Okay, here's going to be
Uh,
part three.
this guy has
Uh,
claws. Make him the front guy. This guy. Everybody was
uh,
Wolverine, right?
uh,
Put him in the front. That's it. Yeah,
anyway,
I feel like some of the things that I got from those movies, I feel like they watched a couple episodes of the animated series
yeah,
and that
yeah.
was it. Like that was the research they did, which sucks because there was so much heart and soul into that show.
You know what
It
we should
feels
do,
like
dude?
they only
You know what
watched
we
the
should
bad
do?
episodes, huh?
Yeah.
It seems like
We
they
watched
only
some
watch
Mojo.
Polemicus, the Polemicus
Polemicus.
episode, and then they're like, "Oh, we know what this is about." Yeah, yeah. Storm falls in love in
Or
2 seconds, and yeah. So
yeah,
we'll go with that.
they watched that episode. They watched that episode and they went, "We don't know what to do with Storm. What the
Yeah.
hell? She's a bad
What do we
character."
do?
You know
Why
what
is
we
she
should
jumping
do?
in this dude's arm? What should we do?
We've been talking about this, but we should start
Uh-huh.
the Patreon exclusive
Mm. Oh,
X-Men movie series watch along.
okay. Okay.
And you, me, and Adam should go
Interesting.
through those just on Patreon.
Yeah.
Like I would
That might
love to
have to
revisit
happen.
those.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because Deadpool and Wolverine's coming out, I think that might be the full death of the Fox X-Men
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
So like we should revisit those and now we have all X-Men 97 and the original
I think
series
right
under
now
our belt.
is the time because there's gonna be a
Yeah.
people are jonesing for X-Men content at this point. I think I don't
Yeah.
know
I
what I'm
know.
gonna do
Me
with
too.
myself at this point. Like I still don't know how I'm gonna cope with not having X-Men every week to watch for who knows how long. Season 2, we
Maybe
don't know where they are in the production line, so
that's true.
I
That's
don't
true. And
know.
I can imagine it's not going to be till next year. I doubt that they're going to be like,
Yeah.
surprise, it's coming out in the fall. Like,
No,
I
no,
no,
that would be such a bad move. Such a bad move.
potentially.
Yeah, and so
When you
that
asked me when you asked
no,
me at
go
the
for it.
beginning, how are you going to cope? I think
Mhm.
I forgot this, but I had already planned to like start reading a lot of X-Men comics.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah,
That's going to
yeah.
be my coping mechanism. I
That's a
just
good
found like
idea.
a volume 1 of the X-Men comics from the 60s, the
Mhm.
original epic collection of just like X-Men 1963 from the beginning. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I've never read this entire series from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna cope, is I'm
Okay,
gonna go
that's a good
back and
idea.
do that.
Yeah. I
But
think I'm gonna do
ma
the re-listen of Jay and Miles Explain the
mm,
X-Men. That podcast was
good,
actually pretty good
good.
because they go from the very beginning in chronological order, and they kind of
Dude,
like
you should read the comics along,
reshuffle
bro. Read the
things.
comics
I know
along.
that's a good idea, but I guess I'm just gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna do the the Hoopla Digital
There
version
you
of
go.
them, and
There you go.
follow along
I
that way. I
also
think that's a
I
good
also
idea.
like Marvel Unlimited. Marvel Unlimited, I think will have
Hmm.
most of that stuff on there, if not all of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Bro, can we get to some comments?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go for it. Have you been reading some? There's been so much good stuff in the chat, and our conversation keeps going
I
that I keep
know.
forgetting to comment on it.
We don't
But
need Adam. He could stay his ass on vacation. We don't need him.
Yeah.
Hey. I'm just kidding. We need him.
We need him.
Watch, it's
bad.
about to crash right now. He's like on the grid, like listening, like,
Yeah.
all right.
If anything goes
Cut you
wrong,
off.
we're done. That's it. We're not coming back online. So
That's
sorry,
true.
y'all.
That's true. That's true. Cross your fingers, cross your toes.
Yeah.
Starting us off, super chat for $2 American. Senator, gonna miss this one, but had to keep tradish. Love you. Thank you so much, Senator.
Yeah.
Then we have Ashley coming in hot with the 125 Filipino pesos. Hang on one sec, scrolling up to it because my chat room it kicked me down to the bottom. Ashley, thank you for the comment. Hola, homie. Super random, but saw an interview with Papa Pedro that he was auditioning for Daredevil, but was offered Narcos. Imagine him on that show. Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of actors of that age were auditioning for the Netflix show when that was happening. That doesn't surprise me at all. But Charlie Cox
I
just
think he did. I think he did a
he's the
good
guy.
job in choosing the role. I also would have chosen the role where I
Yeah.
can gain weight and still get paid.
Yeah. And become a meme
And
on the
become a
swings.
meme. Yeah,
Agreed.
exactly. Where I can just
Agreed.
gain weight, do very little work, and get paid a ton of money.
I love
so
that. I love that.
yeah.
All right, let me get to the super chat.
To
Yeah, that's a good point.
Sam Battenfield. You know you can filter
Battenfield.
the chat by fan funding, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe
okay,
I should do
okay.
that. But
Go up to the
Samil
top and hit-
Battenfeld,
Yeah, there you go.
$2 American says, do you think season 2 will bring in Kang / an MCU tie-in of X-Men 97? No. In fact, I bet you they have that here. Well, here's the thing. I saw somebody say this just because they're in Egypt, and there's a version of Kang who is a ruler in Egypt, and there's storylines where his time in Egypt when he was a ruler, known as Ramatut, he would go to war with En Sabanor, Apocalypse. So I could see them doing a Ramatut reference, but I don't think that X-Men 97 is going to go into a Kang fighting Kang storyline. I would not be surprised if, well, A, they don't want to do it because that's not an X-Men thing. And these creators clearly want to do the as many X-Men comics as they can. Number 2, would not be surprised if they were told it's off limits because the live action, right? Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. So I'm going to say no, but maybe a reference to Ramatut. Yeah.
I know Bodemeo on X has made reference to certain things that he could not touch. You touched on some of that in the video, and I think he's talked about other things where that was some things were not his choice. So yeah, there's probably some things that we don't know about that they can't touch or they can't do, or there's already plans in the future for something like that to happen, so they just don't want any crossing of the streams or whatever.
Vintage Raven for $5 Canadian says, I'm happy Marvel decided to greenlight this. The Hollywood movies kind of ruined the X-Men's image, and in my opinion, this show did a lot to make them cool again.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
I agree. Yeah, especially in a way that I think we've said this before, especially in a way that's like, because we're not going to get to Marvel Studios versions of these characters for a while, I don't think until after Avengers Secret Wars, so that they can keep reusing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and other old X-Men movie actors, Kelsey Grammer as Beast or whatever. We're going to say goodbye to them. Then Marvel Studios is going to do their version. I think this is something that was greenlit to be like, well, we'll whet everybody's appetite. We'll give them something, and it has connections to a previous beloved cartoon show, but it's really going to be its own thing. Go for it. Greenlight it.
Now that you said that, Hector, I know in the past you've been worried about them continuing with the Fox X-Men actors in the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel better now that they are not going to do that? Like, do you feel almost 100% confident that they won't do that?
If that's your question, I do feel almost 100% confident. Again, you never know, but I feel almost 100% confident that there's just so many reasons not to do that compared to so many reasons to do that. Least of all, and remember, dude, Disney's run by white men and they love their money. Least of all is that you can pay a lesser known actor $200,000 to be Wolverine
in
a movie versus Hugh Jackman's a couple $10 million. Like, I don't know how
Mhm.
expensive he is.
Yeah.
So I'm
I'm
sorry.
sure he's expensive.
Creative reasons aside, that's
Yeah.
your answer right there, dude.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's not in the budget basically to bring in
Yeah.
a bunch of established,
Yeah.
super established actors.
No. Nope. The
Okay. All
double
right. All
take.
right. Good question.
The double take's got $1.99 American for Butterfinger Bishop's baby delivery service. It's funny.
Oops. Excuse me.
Oops.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, drop your
In
baby.
the comics, though, Apocalypse knocked them off course.
Oh,
So
sick. Well, then that's what's
yeah,
going to happen. That's what's going to happen.
yeah.
Do you
Apocalypse. It
think
was.
it?
It wasn't. This is regarding my boy Bishop, and this is defending my
Yeah.
boy Bishop.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
handle
Yeah.
it. You cannot
You
handle
can
shit
handle it.
against Apocalypse. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah.
there's nothing you're gonna do. If Apocalypse
Mm-hmm.
wants to knock you out of the time stream, Apocalypse is knocking you out of the time stream. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how they were separated, basically. So
Liam
yeah.
Gallagher's first ever super chat. Liam
Mhm.
Gallagher, $5 American, addressed to you, Augustine, says, Augustine, I'm a hardcore X-Men fan.
That's
And I
right.
got to say, your Jay and Miles podcast suggestion is
Mhm.
brilliant. I've listened to 200 episodes in 2 months. Jesus, Liam.
Yeah, there's a lot of episodes.
Check in with your loved ones, bro.
Listen, hey, if you gotta, I used to
God.
listen to them at work when we were still in
Okay.
VFX. I would
When
be
you're plugging
listening
away.
to
Yeah.
I would be listening
Good.
to Jay and Miles explain the X-Men because I wanted to know. I didn't have time to
Yeah.
go and buy and read the comics. So I was like, you know what? This is a great way to just learn about the
There you
comics
go.
in a different way, really. So yeah, it's a good way to
Liam
kind of like
says,
brush up.
Liam
Mhm.
says, to be fair, I've been doing a lot of traveling. And
There you
Wesley
go.
in the chat asks,
Yeah.
Liam Gallagher of Oasis fame? Liam, are you from Oasis?
Liam, why aren't
You
you
got to
arguing
tell
with your
us.
brother right now? Why are you listening to us?
Today is going to be the day that Jay and Miles explain X-Men to
Explain
you.
the X-Men.
Explain it. By now, you should have somehow read all the X-Men too.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so here we are at the end, Hector. We saw the last episode. Is your brain already thinking of almost like what episode 1 is going to be for the next series? Do you feel like we're going to go straight into apocalypse drama? Do you feel we're going to start where Wolverine and Storm are in love in a different dimension? What do you think we're going to
Great.
see early on?
I don't think I'd let my brain jump into that. Like, I'm still kind of obsessed with the show right now.
Mhm.
You know what my next benchmark is that I know May 25th they're releasing the soundtrack for X-Men 97.
Right. Yes. You are
That's the next
correct.
thing I care about.
Yeah.
Give me that
Yeah.
soundtrack. As soon as I get that and I buy it, download it, put it on my iPod,
Mhm.
that's how I'm going to start reading X-Men comics,
Yeah.
listening to that. And I'm stoked. So, but I don't think I'm trying to predict the next season.
Mhm.
Samil Battenfeld in the chat says Avengers versus X-Men. No, I do not think. Let me tell you something else too. I don't think if Samil is coming into this being like an MCU fan first and like an X-Men fan second, totally fair. I feel like at this point, that's most of the planet. Like most Marvel fans right now are probably MCU Avengers fans. And like this is like a new corner of like, oh, I didn't know this shit was that cool. Based just again off of the X-Men movies. I think X-Men fans are resentful at the fact that the Avengers became A-list and left them behind. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And this show is made
Well,
by X-Men fans.
I don't know.
I truly do. And it's the same way, like, dude, as like a DC fan, it's the same way I was resentful at like Warner Brothers for just doing Batman, Superman, you know,
Yeah.
Harry
I
Potter,
see.
everything else. But so I'm like, I get mad when
Yeah.
when it's not, you know, or like Teen Titans doesn't get the respect it should deserve or whatever. But like Samuel says, nah, I'm a Marvel fan. Well, then if you were Samuel, you would know that that's offensive to suggest that the X-Men 97 team behind the show or that the story itself needs the Avengers presence. That's what I'm trying to get
Yeah,
to. When X-Men fans know they do not.
Yep.
And that is like Avengers versus X-Men also is not a super well-loved, from what I've seen, like comic book storyline with Marvel Comics fans versus I think other storylines were like better received and people really like them. Avengers versus X-Men, a lot of X-Men fans are like, it makes Cyclops and the X-Men look bad. It makes the Avengers look bad. Like they didn't feel that like that the conflict was worth it in the
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So it's just like a cash cow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Also, let's be real here.
yeah,
Let's be real here.
yeah,
This X-Men team, this current end of well, before they were all time transported.
right.
This X-Men team will wipe the floor with the Avengers. I'm sorry. Might be a hot take, might be a wrong take, but the X-Men will wipe the floor with the Avengers. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's just gonna happen.
I agree. I mean,
Yeah, there's nobody on the team.
If the X-Men 97 universe's Avengers lineup is Captain America, Iron Man, presumably Thor, because he was in the original X-Men cartoon as a cameo, presumably Doctor Strange, presumably Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. So at the end of that last episode, it said Scarlet Witch was off planet or off world.
Yeah.
It's because she's probably on the Avengers and they're probably doing some space stuff like a Kree Skrull war or something, you know. So like Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch could be on the Avengers in this iteration. Like even that, I'm like, yeah, dude, but the X-Men's got like Wolverine, Jean Grey, Beast,
X.
Storm, Omega level, Professor X,
Magneto,
maybe Magneto at this point. Like I'm like, it's just there's no
touching him. Sorry. You got Thor. You got Thor and Hulk, maybe. Non MCU Thor and Hulk. I think you could maybe get in a punch or two. But then there's no way you're touching this this X-Men team. Sorry.
Crazy. I'm even looking at look at the way Rogue handled Captain America.
Oh my God.
Do you know what I mean?
Straight
I'm like,
up,
there's no
the disrespect, bro, to throw his shield into a mountain.
and if you go, well, hang on, the Avengers have the Hulk. It's like, I guess the X-Men have a morph. Like, what do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah.
Morph, they literally turned into Hulk and went morph smash. It's like, oh, dude.
Not just Hulk, a gene enhanced Hulk. Do you remember he was glowing the whole time? That's
he was telekinesis,
punching
Kyle.
stuff out. It's telekinesis, Kyle. I don't think there's any touching, but I think that we could spend a whole episode talking about who's gonna wipe the floor with who.
I know.
Honestly,
but I think the takeaway is I think that's too recent. Because when did that comic book come out? I think it was like 2013 or something.
I don't know.
I think that's too recent or too further ahead in like Marvel Comics. That I think X-Men 97 is still in the 90s. There may be in the early 2000s. We're dealing with Apocalypse. We're dealing with Clan Ascani. You know, Cyclops and Jean that go in the future, and then they're going to meet young Nathan. That's like a 90s miniseries that came out in like 1997 or some shit. This is not like, you know, they're not going to do, you know, what about if they do like World War Hulk? Like they're not going to do that kind of, right? They're doing like X-Men events.
Yeah.
They're not doing Marvel Comics events. This is it.
No.
And Onslaught is an X-Men event. So they might do a version of Onslaught.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it's going to happen. I feel like the moment where
X-Men versus Avengers?
No. X-Men. I feel the Onslaught event is still going to happen.
Yes.
I feel like he has already been created and we don't know. And once he comes up, we're going to go back to the events where it happened. But anyways, So we'll talk about that later. Who's next? What do we got next?
Ugo Adriano Abate with 1,000, I'm assuming, Argentinian coins.
Dollar amount.
Currencies.
Dollar amounts.
Argentine pesos.
Real quick.
Yeah, give it a Google. Hello, guys. Saying hi from Argentina. I'm a 90s guy. I grew up watching the X-Men cartoon. Nice. And is that what ARS is? Is that the abbreviation? ARS?
I think so.
Grew up watching the X-Men cartoon. I love X-Men 97. It's been a long time since we felt like this watching Marvel content. It's been an amazing 9 weeks with the mutants and you guys. Love you. Thank you so much, Ugo. Gurinder Johal, $9.99 American. Late to the party. This show has made me love X-Men. I wasn't the biggest X-Men fan before, but now I just want X-Men in the MCU. This plus Deadpool and Wolverine in 2 months has me hyped for X-Men. That's what's up.
That's what they're doing it for.
100%.
I'm glad the world is knowing why I started reading comic books in the first place. It wasn't Cap, it wasn't Iron Man. My boy Wolverine got me into comics. And
there you go.
Nightcrawler and Colossus. So I gotta give them all. Gotta give them all respect.
We gotta bring Colossus into the fold next season because
I think so.
If Bishop and Forge are like in the present, you know, with like people are saying like Jubilee, Sunspot. Bring in like expand the roster. Colossus,
Yeah.
come over
Yeah.
here from Russia with your
Yep.
sister. Iron Dad for $10 American says, don't want X-Men live action now. X-Men 98, X-Men 99, X-Men 2000, just keep going. Speedrun 60 years of comics. HX? What does that mean?
Not sure.
Comics,
Not sure.
comics,
So
Hex, soap opera tone, and Cyclops is cool. Take note, MCU. Good writing wins always. Super fun to watch with you. Thank you so much,
thanks,
Iron Dad. Yeah, you've also brought up a great question of like, if this show continues, will it really be the most popular version of this? How are the movies going to differentiate?
Mm-hmm.
I have said that the movies could differentiate by, I want them to start with Cyclops and Jean Grey and the original like class
Mm-hmm.
young, like
Yeah.
Tom Holland age.
Yeah.
That's what I want them to
I think they need to.
To basically go after, frankly, kind of a younger audience than
Yes.
us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can already, if they were to do that, I could already see the internet being like, this sucks, this isn't for me, that, and I'll just be like, shut up. You got to get young people in on the X-Men and have it be their X-Men as the team grows through the high school and through the school years. Then in the sequel, that's when you bring in Wolverine.
Grow, like
that's what I'm saying.
We're lucky that we have people like Chris Evans and who else? The other 1,000 Chris's who don't seem to age. Either that or they just have really good makeup, right? But like, luckily, their look has stayed pretty consistent throughout the whole MCU. But I feel like as we get into the future or the upcoming stuff, you really need to start thinking about the longevity of the actors, the physical actors being in these roles, because not everybody, can stay doing these roles for a long time. So I think that's going to be an important aspect.
If you're lucky, you could get an actor who's like a lead character like this to be this character 3 times in 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's already like a lot.
Time.
Like, because it takes 2 to 3 to 4 years to make each one of these movies.
Yeah.
And then they film it, and then all the special effects are worked on, and then the movie comes out like a year or 2 after they shot it, and they're already filming the next one. Or you're lucky to get that many out of a decade.
Yeah.
And we've each of us got maybe 7 to 9 decades in us, dude. You can't be like,
yeah, that's true. It's a long time.
It's a long time, and it's so little time. And for people to I just don't want them to skip to a 40-year-old Cyclops. I want Cyclops to be like 22 years old.
Yeah, and learning the ropes from Xavier.
And then building out the world as they go. But that could be one way to differentiate. Because, for example, if they did like Spider-Man 98 right now, it would be very different than the Tom Holland Spider-Man. When that movie comes out, the next one, it's very different than where like that Peter Parker in that cartoon show is. So if X-Men 97 keeps going and it's just the most bombastic, soap opera, all the X-Men characters are in it and it's all crazy each episode, you can do a movie to be like, we're going to do a really good script that's really intimate. You're going to spend time with these young people. You're going to see their perspective. You're going to see what they think about the world, how they want to change it, what they have to deal with, mutant bigotry, the metaphor. It's going to be inclusive. It's going to be hopeful. And there's going to be a bad guy like Magneto in the first film, and that's it. And, versus a 2-hour, like, cram everything in there because you just want it to, right. You want for people to grab onto that character or characters slowly, and then they get invested in whatever. Anyway.
Yep. I agree.
Greg McCoy, $10 American. With the success of X-Men 97, I think people needed to be patient for the MCU X-Men debut. It's going to take them time to build to something like that. Also, Adam's D3, the Mighty Ducks Blu-rays in the mail. Okay, thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
We're gonna ship that to Alaska for him.
Yeah.
Clean C.
We're gonna ship it straight over there.
He needs it now. Clean C with a $20 says, been following since Infinity War's trailer reaction. Thank you for making the world less lonely. X-Men 97 was so fulfilling. What X-Men stories do you think the MCU will tell that don't repeat the cartoon universes? That's a great question. I mean,
there's a lot. There's a lot of different ways that they can go, but I think it's pretty
Yeah.
telling as to where they're going to go right now with the Apocalypse
Yeah, the
storyline.
cartoon covered everything. No, he's
Yeah.
asking what is the live action X-Men
Oh, the
stuff
live
gonna do
action. The live
to
action stuff gonna do.
differentiate?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, never mind, I misread it. Yep. I don't know, that's tough, and I think that's the same conversation we've been having with, like, Invincible, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
main storylines are so strong and
Mhm.
beloveded
I
and
think
beloved.
I think either works.
Either one works.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be tough to recreate. Now that X-Men finished, I feel like they're in the same conundrum. What are they gonna do to catch lightning in a bottle again? Maybe they're banking on the fact that not everybody watches animation. There's a lot of people who, for some reason,
Mhm.
discount animation as
Mhm.
just for kids, right? And obviously,
Mhm.
it's been proven again and again, it's not just a kids medium. And
Mhm.
so maybe they're banking that the audience is big enough that most people. Well, that's difficult to say too because I feel like most diehard MCU fans are still watching this show anyway, who have
Yeah.
been like the diehards to carry the MCU through from the beginning. So it's tough. It's a conundrum. I don't really know what they're gonna do. I hope
Yeah.
Kevin Feige has a plan.
I don't I like, here's the thing, though, is, like, it's not a specific story that's coming to mind because go back for a second, go back to X-Men 1992, the animated series. It debuts in 1992. The first episode has an X-Men team.
Mhm.
Wolverine's on it, like Beast, Cyclops,
Yeah.
Jean Grey, Storm. Then the new kid on the block is Jubilee,
Mhm.
right? Morph is on the team, and Morph is killed in that first mission. But already from that first episode, there's a history of these characters that we haven't seen.
Yeah,
There's a
that's true.
history where
That's
like
true.
we will learn,
Yeah.
oh, Scott and Jean were
Yeah.
Charles Xavier's first students.
Mhm.
And there was an initial team, and I guess maybe Angel and Iceman were on the team, but they're not around
Mhm.
anymore. And then at one point, Wolverine joined, and I think that's honestly because X-Men comic book stuff before Chris Claremont came in the 70s and started
Mhm.
writing X-Men, and as he was building up towards the Phoenix sagas, all the stuff before, like in the 70s, before Wolverine and Colossus and Nightcrawler joined the team, I
Mhm.
don't think there's any standout stories from that era.
Right.
X-Men
Right.
kind of didn't work, other than you get to see the initial characters, the five
Mhm.
X-Men. You
Yep.
see them graduate high school, you see them leave the college, but
Yeah.
Cyclops stays behind. And Cyclops, I think, and Jean stay behind, but like Beast goes off and does his own thing, and then he becomes Blue Furry Beast. Like I was
Mhm.
explaining to my girlfriend, I'm like, that's not his mutation. He experimented himself on that.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? And then she was like, oh, yeah, they did that in a movie, kind of.
Yeah.
First Class,
Mhm.
they kind of did that. So
Yeah, he
I
started off
think
as human. Mhm.
I think the MCU should look at that beginning and try to find a
Okay.
2-hour movie story in that
Mhm.
because it is different than X-Men 97. It
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
also think because X-Men 1992 already covered the Phoenixes and X-Men 97 seems to just be like, yeah, that happened. They're not going to redo the Phoenix that story already happened. I think that's the thing that Marvel Studios should consider doing as their saga after the multiverse
Okay.
saga.
I dig it.
And
I think that's a good
I know
idea.
people were like, they already did the Phoenix Saga. They already ruined it. It's like by the time those movies come out, the first time they tried was 2006, X-Men: The
Yeah.
Last Stand.
Yeah.
The second time they tried was 2019 with a movie called Dark Phoenix
Yeah.
that really nobody remembers or cared about,
Yeah.
right? With an
Yeah. No, you're
actress,
right. I think you're right.
right? So I'm like,
Mhm.
maybe by the time I'm talking 2026, 2027, 2028, you couldn't start telling an X-Men story and eventually Marvel reveals in their
Mhm.
next in that phase or 3 phases that like, oh, the overarching story we're going to do is the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah.
You know, you get to some
Absolutely.
X-Men
Yeah.
Phoenix stuff 2034, like you tell me that's too recent?
That's too soon.
No.
Especially with I have a feeling they are going to officially somehow close out the Fox X-Men universe. Like I think Deadpool is going to say something to the effect that the Fox
You're
X-Men are
right.
dead. Like
You're right.
directly.
You're
So
right.
that gives them the complete freedom to go and do something with the Phoenix, I think. It's such a cool
And
story. It's such a defining story too for the X-Men.
I would love if this show 97 gets to go 5 to 7 seasons
Mhm.
or longer,
Mhm.
but I'm hoping that they're able to work on them during each year and that they're not taking like long breaks in between getting greenlit, that they're
Yeah.
just able to work on it.
Yeah.
And maybe even this show could wrap out in like 4 to 5 to 6 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
We might not even be at a new X-Men movie at that point. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Maybe.
when is
Maybe.
Secret Wars supposed to come out? 2026? 2027?
Something. I don't know. I don't know the dates.
Like,
I'm
all
not
of
sure what the
X-Men
dates are.
97
Yeah.
could be wrapping up as they're ramping up. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea that, like, do they have to avoid telling the same stories? I think it is a challenge, but I think that there's some ways around it and still eventually hit.
Yeah.
Because, like, dude, if Marvel
Yeah.
Studios avoids doing like Apocalypse, you know, or what else? Like a Cable and Bishop
Mm-hmm.
storyline,
Mm-hmm.
just because the cartoon shows did it. That's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's a waste. They're gonna
Yeah.
have to do
It is a
some of
huge
that shit.
waste. Yeah.
That
And
stuff's
also,
awesome.
I think even Oscar Isaac forgot that he played Apocalypse. So
Yeah.
it's just I think I think it'll be fine. I think it and
Yeah.
I do think that these stories are so iconic in the X-Men lore that I do feel like they have to tackle them at some particular point.
Yes.
Maybe the first one or two movies can be like the origins of the X-Men team, but I feel like after that, it's pedal to the metal. You gotta go and tell these stories like
Yep.
real quick because I feel like
Yep.
that's really what's gonna catch people's attention. And who knows what the state of the animated series is gonna be at that point. If it is indeed, if like production is slowing down so much to where they're not putting
Mhm.
out 6 projects a year, we're really gonna have to you know, hit those storylines pretty hard. It could almost be
Mhm.
like maybe it could almost be like a Thanos and Infinity Saga, but I don't know if they want to repeat the same thing twice. I'm more
You
in
mean
line with like 3 movie like a 10-year arc where Thanos comes in
right,
and like a
right.
10-year kind of thing. But I don't know.
So
I
you're
don't, it's
saying you would
I'm
like
glad I'm not involved in the creative process.
yeah, you're saying Apocalypse could be like their Thanos.
Yeah, or
I
like the
agree.
Phoenix
I
Saga or
agree.
something like that, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
right. Phoenix Saga should be the 10-year. If this
Yeah.
is if right now the Multiverse Saga is phases 4, 5, and 6, I'm saying
Mhm.
phases 7, 8, and 9 should be later revealed to be
Mhm.
the Phoenix Saga.
The Phoenix Saga. That sounds pretty dope, but
And
I don't
that
know.
just
We'll
means
see.
right? You set up a
Mhm.
Jean Grey in phase 7, you do a movie where she becomes Phoenix in phase 8,
Mhm.
and then in phase 9 shit goes dark. Right?
Yeah.
But that's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay." That's a long period of time.
It's a long
Um,
time. It's a long time, and I don't wanna wait that long because it seems like so long, but we'll see. I don't know. If the movies are
cool.
good, I'll be fine with it. Take their time.
Yeah.
Alright, we got a
Ronan
lot
has
of super
got
chat
do
questions.
we really? Let me
Yeah,
get to him.
we got a
Ronan,
ton. Go.
boys, this show is omega level. I think
Mhm.
slash hope we get Kitty Pride next season. Those X-Men movies are part of my DNA, like
Mhm.
X-Men the animated series. See y'all at San Diego Comic-Con. See you.
Hey, see that, Ronan? We just Ronan wasn't here for our shit talking of the original X-Men movies,
Yeah,
but
we
I
disagree
d
with you. We think
I
they're
d
bad. No, I'm
I
kidding.
think they're real bad.
Yeah, go back and watch it later. You're
Yeah.
wrong, bro. Delete them from your DNA. Get them out of there.
Yeah.
Get them out of there like
Do
Jean
like
Grey
the
got it
Phoenix
out
did.
of
You beat
Phoenix.
me to it,
Get it
damn
out. Get it out.
it.
It's poison. Become an old
Yeah.
man.
Forget about it.
Sinister.
Forget about it like
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac forgot that he was Apocalypse. Forget about it. It's done.
Kingsport Cal has €5.
€5. Hear
Kingsport.
ye.
The year my brother and I cried discussing X-Men 97. X-Men has always been an important comic to us. I want to ask Lawyer Hector his summation of X-Men 97 heart emoji.
I decree.
I decree. Lawyer Hector would say it is well, Yana, it's very clear that this show is better than the X-Men movies, Yana. It's a
Whoa,
simple.
Southern lawyer
I'm a
Hector.
I'm a simple country lawyer. I don't know nothing about no I don't know nothing about no Onslaught or Age
Onslaughts.
of Apocalypse. But all I know is the heart, Your Honor, the relationships between these two characters. All I know is that Cyclops is a better leader than he ever was in those movies, Your Honor. It's clear to see that those films were made by people who did not give a care in the world. But this new show, X-Men 97, wow.
Uh-huh.
I have a little twinkle in my eye every time I watch one. And that's hot, Your Honor. I rest my case.
We got to cool it with the spoilers because Adam Hlavik is in the chat. He's
What are you,
listening
Adam?
to
What are you
us.
doing?
Adam, leave. We're talking spoilers, bro. What are you doing? It's like when
Adam.
Dad gets home. Dad, come on,
Go
man.
witness
Bruh.
global warming, climate change right outside your cruise
Bruh.
ship window. Go look at an iceberg melt, dude. Get out of here.
What are you doing, bro? There's icebergs to look at. Get out of here.
Hulk Smash Yo Mom has $4.99. Says absolutely love the show. Can't wait for seasons 2. Puro X-Men cabrones.
Puro X-Men por
Great.
vida, homies. Yeah.
Por vida.
I mean, this is what this whole episode's about. So yeah, we agree with you.
We should cool it on the sorry spoilers. Cool it. Gurinder Johal says $9.99. I don't know if you guys already touched on this, but with who's left, who would you guys like to be the leftover mutant X-Men team along with blank and blank? I want to see blank, blank, and blank. I don't want to do spoilers now. Now that Adam, now I'm like self-conscious about it.
I think he might be gone. He's not. He's no longer typing in the chat.
Okay.
I hope he's got earmuffs on.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think we've done enough
he can
damage
read the super chat too.
I know. I don't want him to, but we should also hold off. These are great questions, and we should try to remember some and answer them again when Adam gets back, because I would like to ask him again. Not trying to predict the show, but like, who would you like to see? What characters would you like to see?
Well,
that's a great topic
of discussion. Seen the last
discussion.
episode yet?
I know, so we got to wait for Adam to come back.
You're saying
we do this on the next week. Yeah.
He watch. Okay, cool. When he gets back from the cruise, he'll watch the show. Then we'll go live, and then we'll talk about this question.
Dude, this next comment got me good. The double take, $1.99. Bishop thought he had Aquaman's kid and just let go in the time stream.
Later, CGI baby.
Bye, Arthur
Jr.
Here you go. Pissing somebody else's face. That's so funny.
That was bad.
It's so funny.
Oh, it's such a bad movie.
CS, $10. Hey, homies. I have a theory hope for the MCU after Secret Wars. A reboot with focus on X-Men characters, with Avengers being background characters, like Phase 1 focused on Iron Man, Cap, Thor. Everyone on the big screen. Yeah, but I don't think it'll be rebooted. But yes, I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't doubt that the Avengers are going to be some kind of, I don't want to say backdrop, because to call them backdrop characters at this point in the MCU is not right. No. I think having almost like Tony did for Spider-Man, like kind of be like a watching over figure / fairy godparent that can come in at convenient times, and like Thor will come in last minute right before Wolverine's about to, die or something. I don't know.
That would be sick. Well, listen, dude, Rogue still has to meet Carol Danvers. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
She's got to steal those powers. Like, there's little connections between these characters and the larger Marvel universe that I would love to see, but I don't want to see. You know what I think? I think after Secret Wars, there will be an Avengers team that's like official. But then I think they won't have a movie, but then there'll be a presence in the background. So like a few years go by, and then a new movie comes out in theaters, like Shang-Chi 2 or like, Doctor Strange 3 or something. Post Secret Wars, it might be like, for example, post Secret Wars, it might be like Fantastic Four 2. And then I think in that movie, we might see like this just in, like this character is now a member of the Avengers. Stay tuned for more. Like those little updates where you're like, oh, okay, this is now the roster. That's cool. All right, She-Hulk's on the Avengers. Great. Yeah. Like little things like that. But it's like, it might not. Lost the stream. Are you there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Are we back?
I hear you. I don't know if we're back yet.
Yeah. We have to go back live, or will it just kick us into it?
I think we should be.
We're back. We're both back.
I think we're back. Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Somebody in the chat said Bastion got us. Bastion got us.
Well,
that was close. EMP. I forget what we were talking about. But anyway.
It was Adam. We gave him a spoiler, and he's mad now.
Oh, son of a.
He cut my internet line from Alaska.
He's in an igloo in British Columbia, and he was just like, just need a second to hack into their
I
mainframe. Done.
can't believe you. Get out of here.
Magneto got us, says Miguel in the chat. Oh boy.
Well, what were you saying, Hector? I panicked, so I forgot what stream of thought
We
you were
will
on.
we will see little updates about who's on the Avengers. They'll have a
Oh, yes,
presence,
yes,
but they won't
yes.
have a movie necessarily. We got Tyrone Gutierrez in the chat says, "Who thinks that Kang/Immortus displaced the X-Men?" I don't think so, Tyrone. I think
I
if
think that was Apocalypse. I think
I
it was
agree.
already Apocalypse.
I
Yeah.
agree. I
Mhm.
agree. Yeah. X-Men have their entire own stories and roster that can
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
exist on their own without, coming in for
Yeah,
other
I don't think we
stuff.
need any of the Avengers storylines or anything from the MCU at this
Nope.
point in the X-Men. They've shown that they can hold
Yeah.
their own.
You know what would
Just
You
what?
know what would be sick though?
Huh.
Is Franklin Richards, the son of
Ooh,
Mr.
okay.
Fantastic and the Invisible
Okay.
Woman. He's a
Yeah.
mutant. And there's a
Yeah.
storyline that's a Fantastic Four X-Men crossover, and Doctor Doom is in
Mhm.
it. And I would love to see like that
Mm.
exploration,
Yeah.
because you could do a lot with that, with like
Yep.
what a child of privilege to be the kid of the Fantastic Four,
Right, right.
but he's a mutant. So does that, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, that would be great.
What
Be great.
happens with that? But also, he's
Yeah.
not just a mutant. He's
Yeah.
like one of the most important mutants ever.
Yeah.
So that's
He
another
will he
huge
will
thing.
he's the only surviving member of the Marvel universe. He
Yeah.
survives the eons from now
Yeah.
existence blinking out, and he becomes the next Galactus, and he puts on
Mhm.
Galactus's helmet, and he punches through, and he's going to survive into whatever iteration the next universe is going to be.
That's crazy.
That story gives me chills. I
That's
love that. And it's Franklin.
crazy.
It's Franklin as an
Oh,
adult,
that's
but
wild.
he lives that long. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yup.
Oh man.
Wes got it.
Speaking
Wes
of,
got it.
we got some
Yeah.
Fantastic Four casting news, right?
Yeah, dude, we did.
That one
We could
guy,
talk about that if you want.
the one guy with the
That
really
one
deep
guy.
voice that was in
Yeah.
Willow.
Willow. I know.
Of course.
I thought
Yeah,
about you.
We gotta
I thought about
we
you.
Yeah, we got to talk about Willow any chance we get. I think that was a fantastic.
Everyone was like,
just for his
that-
voice. That
Yeah,
casting
everyone
choice
was like, that
incredible.
actor from Game of Thrones. I was like,
Nah.
he was in Willow, and he was
He was in
awesome in Willow,
bro.
and nobody
Yeah.
saw Willow, but he killed it.
Yeah,
Ralph
yeah.
Ineson.
Yeah. Good choice.
Um,
His voice is perfect for Galactus.
It is.
As I was
really
watching
is.
him in Willow, which is one of the best shows we saw last year or the year before.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was like, does this guy sound like Galactus? Just kidding. I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking that, but now I'm just like, oh yeah, that's a good Galactus voice right there. Yeah. Excellent.
And Ashley says in the chat, Natasha Lyonne too. She's going to be in the cast. So she's a great
yeah,
actor.
yeah.
She's
Mhm,
super
mhm.
cool. And
Absolutely.
I'm like, I don't know exactly who she could be. The rumor is, or fans are saying she could be Alicia Masters,
Mhm.
who is the blind woman who dates and falls in love with the Thing, Ben Grimm.
Oh, good choice.
And someone was like, I saw somebody online post this. It may have been a comic book artist. It may have just been a fan. I forget. But they were like, if she's playing Alicia, this now means that Alicia Masters, this woman, is going to be more like the Thing than the Thing. And they were super into that idea because she's like
Yeah.
super New York, and she's in
Yeah.
here, and she talks
Yeah.
like this, and she's going to call you out on your bullshit like that. And it was just like super funny and sarcastic and dry and really cool. And people were like, that would be hilarious if this
That
is
would be
who
really great.
Ben falls for.
Yeah.
Because she's great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I think I gotta head out, Hector. I'm sorry. I might
right.
have to cut this stream short a little bit.
That's
tonight.
fine.
We can't go an hour and a half.
We got through all the super chats.
But I think we did. I think this is a good place to kind of call it quits. I'm sorry we couldn't get to everybody else in the chat, but I know the chat was really great because I was keeping my eye on it. So thank you guys for participating in there and talking with each other because we can't talk with everybody all at once. So it's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking with us in this entire stream and the slight hiccup we had. No big deal. I got this. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's cool. It's cool. We're adults.
But yeah,
and
make sure to check out everything that we have on the Patreon. Make sure you check out everything we have on Heroes Reforged. We are going to, I don't know what we're reacting to next, Hector. Do you know what we're reacting to? I think we're doing a bunch of The Boys stuff for a while.
Yes, I think we're gonna get
Yeah.
to Gen V and try to get
Yeah.
caught up for The Boys coming out in like a little bit.
Mhm,
The next
mhm.
season of The Boys.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the big show here, and we gotta wait for
Yeah.
Adam to get back, and we're gonna start cranking that out.
Oh
So
yeah,
there you go.
that's right. Duh, I forgot about Adam.
Yeah.
Adam's gonna get back. He's gonna react to the show, put it out on Patreon. And to be
Mhm.
very honest, I don't think those single person reactions are gonna make it to YouTube anytime soon or
No,
anytime
it's
at
a
all.
secret.
Yeah,
It's a
so
secret.
that's just gonna stay there. Apologies for that, but that's how we decided it's gonna be. So yeah, thank you all for watching tonight. Had a blasty blast, and we'll see you all next week when Adam gets back. Bye.